Who is
Nehemiah
God to
4,
you? Part 2 of
verse
3.
1 through to 7. Glory be to God in the highest. Because you know, when we know who God is to us, that God will never leave us nor forsake us. Whatever He promised, He will see through to the end. Glory be to God in the highest. Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 1 through to 7. I will read, you can follow. It says, but it came to pass that when Sanballat heard that but it came to pass that when Sanballat heard that we builded the wall, he was wrath, so he was angry, he was upset, and took great indignation and mocked the Jews. So, in other words, Sanballat was saying a lot of things. And he spake before his brethren and the army of Samaria and said, what do these feeble Jews? Will they fortify themselves? Will they sacrifice? Will they make an end in a day? Will they revive the stones out of the heaps of the rubbish which are burned? So we see that Sanballat was questioning whether Nehemiah and the workmen could do this. It was He was using psychology in the sense that he was trying to distract them, trying to discourage them. Because when he spoke, the word would have gone around and reached Nehemiah and the workmen ears. We have to be careful, because there are some persons, they are deceptive, they are quite cunning, they are clever in the way that they do things. They might not come to you and say it directly, but they will say to someone that may come to you or will come back around to you and discourage your spirit and let you feel that you can't do it. You start to even doubt God and doubt your ability or what the Lord has called you to do. Because here it is, Nehemiah was called to rebuild the wall. But they had an issue with the wall being rebuilt because they wanted access to come in as they have a like and so forth to do what they want. And they wanted them to feel to be in a position where they are vulnerable. Anybody could come in and out of the city, because Nehemiah was called to rebuild the wall for safety purpose, so that every and anyone couldn't just come into the city. Glory be to God. Verse 3. Now Tobiah the Ammonite was by him, and he said, even that which they build, if a fox go up, he shall even break down their stone wall. My God. So he was saying, glory be to God, Tobiah was saying that the wall was so feeble that if a fox, a fox isn't a heavy animal. If a fox went on the wall, it would tear down the wall. My God, discouraged. People will come with discouraging words because they don't want to come straight forward and let you know that they are threatened, or they want to discourage you or cause you to lose your focus. But they do it in a very sneaky way. Glory be to God. Verse 4, hear, O our God, for we are despised, and turn their reproach upon their own head, and give them for a prey in the land of captivity. And cover not their iniquity, and let not their sin be blotted out from before thee, for they have provoked thee to anger before the builders. 6. So built we the wall, and all the wall was joined together unto the half thereof. For the people had a mind to work. So we see that the brethren, they were willing to work. Glory be to God. And where your people are willing to come together, glory be to God, it will happen. Because the Bible tells us that one shall chase 1,000, two shall put 10,000 to fly. Look at the difference between one chasing 1,000 and two chasing 10,000. Glory be to God in the highest. Verse 7, but it came to pass that when Sanballat and Tobiah and the Arabians and the Amorites and the Ashdodites heard that the walls of Jerusalem were made up, that the breaches began to be stopped, then they were very wroth. Glory be to God. So we see that they were hungry because the wall was being rebuilt, being repaired. Glory be to God. Many persons, glory be to God, in the highest, they will not want us to rebuild the wall. Glory be to God in the highest. The wall, it refers to the wall of Jerusalem. But if we look in our life, there might be some walls that we need to rebuild, whether it's our walk with Christ. We might not be praying and fasting so much. Different things might be happening because we have different things that affect us individually. Glory be to God in the highest. So we must understand that when God calls us to rebuild the wall, it's for a reason. It's for safety. It's for protection. It's to keep those out who shouldn't be in or have access. Glory be to God in the highest. So we see that not only did Tobiah mock the Jews, so it wasn't only mocking that took place, but he takes it to another level of assault. We see that he joins Sanballat force to demoralize, to let Nehemiah feel like, and the workman, like they couldn't do it. So it was a tactic to get them to become discouraged. Glory be to God. We have to be careful of the discouragers who will discourage us to even doubt God, discourage us to forget the God that we serve, discourage us to remember what God has done for us, what He's taken us out of, where He's taken us from, and where He's brought us, and where He is going to take us. Glory be to God in the highest. So we see that Tobiah joined Sanballat to demoralize Nehemiah and the workmen because he wanted to discourage them and distract them. So we see that these two combined, and we must understand that sometimes persons will see that they cannot take you out or take you down, so they will join up with the enemies. Because here it is that we see that Tobiah joined up with Sanballat to go and distract Nehemiah and the workmen. They realized that one may not be as effective as two, so they join together. And so it is, brothers and sisters, persons will have, even persons that they dislike, but they will join with them just to go against you because they want to group up or try to get stronger in terms of joining force against you. And we see that these two combined, that they came together to go and discourage Nehemiah and the workmen that were building the wall. And we see that their spirits carried characteristics or traits, or we can see evidence that they were fearful, depression, mockery, doubt, even discouragement and unbelief. This is what they wanted to enforce upon Nehemiah and the workmen. But Nehemiah wasn't fazed by it. And it's important that we remember, our purpose and our calling. Glory be to God. And that it's the Lord that calls us. Because when we forget that, we may start to think about what men say. And yes, it's easier said than done when persons come up against you and so forth. Sometimes the physical man, take over the spirit man, and we gone into flesh and start to worry and all the rest. But we must understand, we see that in this event that Sanballat and Tobiah, that they joined up with a third person called Geshem. And we see that there were three enemies of the Jews, and that they came together, and there were several attempts to try and stop Nehemiah from rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem. Glory be to God. And we see that Sanballat and Tobiah are first mentioned in Nehemiah in chapter 2, verse 10. So they first started their, what would I say, their attempt at discouraging and trying to stop Nehemiah from rebuilding the wall. And when they realized that it wasn't working, then they went to ask for more help. They brought more persons in to join. And so it is persons will try to, anybody that they may know that might not be fond of us or might have something against or whatever it may be, they will go and try to get them to join force to come up against you. Glory be to God in the highest. And we see that when Sambalat, glory be to God, and Tobiah, that when they heard about this, they were disturbed, they were unhappy, and that they devised a plan to promote the going against the welfare of Israel or the Israelites. Glory be to God. And we know that Israel, or the Israelites are God's chosen people. Glory be to God in the highest. And we see that they went and they mocked and they were saying a lot of things. What is this you are doing? Do you think the wall will be strong enough? Are you rebelling against the king? Glory be to God in the highest. When the restructure of the wall was taking place, or the construction of the wall was taking place, they grew angry and even grew angrier. Glory be to God in the highest. And when Sanballat heard that they were rebuilding the wall, he became angry and he was greatly annoyed, infuriated, become upset. Glory be to God in the highest. So he ridiculed the Jews. So we must understand that the Sanballat and Tobiah spirit is operating in this day and time. Glory be to God in the highest. They will try to tear down every and anything that you are building up in Christ. They will do anything. They will go to any lengths to try and take you out, try to stop your walk with Christ, your ministry, try to sabotage whatever it is. Because what we must understand is that it's about availability. And the devil will use anybody who is available. So the closest person to us, the devil will use. The devil isn't going to send somebody that is far to try and stop us. It's going to send somebody that is near. Family, friend, a brother, a sister, somebody that is close. Because somebody who isn't a friend or isn't close can't come close enough to do any harm. Glory be to God. We see in Psalms, David spoke about his experience when his son and his friend, his counselor, went against him. Ahithophel and Absalom. Glory be to God. And he said, if it was my enemy that had done this thing against me, then I could have borne it. But it's my friend, it's my son. It's someone that I took sweet counsel with. Glory be to God. And children of God, when we have brothers and sisters in Christ, are persons who are close, our family, our acquaintances, and they hurt us, we feel it to the core because, we think this person is so close, this person could have probably took my life, this person could have caused serious damage. It's someone that I cared for, someone that I look out for, somebody that I help and all the rest, and look what they have done to me. Glory be to God. Can you imagine your son and your best friend who you take counsel from? Persons who are so close that could set up your life. Glory be to God, who turn against you. David said, when you think, when he, analyze it and think, it's my son and my best friend who have teamed up. And look at it, another instant of people teaming up to come against someone. Glory be to God in the highest. Team up and was even passing information over. The counselor was passing information over to the son because he would have been in a position to know the ins and outs, the finer details, the intricate details, because David would have said it to him, would have conversed with him about all these things. And we see that they plotted and they planned and they caused havoc in David's life. But look at the way that they were taken out. Glory be to God. And that's why we have to know our God is lovely, is loving, is patient, is kind, and all the rest. But He's a God that will fight for you. He will fight for us. He will fight for me. Glory be to God in the highest, because He reminds us, glory be to God, that He is a God that is just. He's a just God. Glory be to God. Not because someone might be doing great works, and that it don't mean that if you do something bad, God is gonna turn a blind eye to it or ignore it. Glory be to God in the highest. And if we think about this story with Sambalat and Tobiah, glory be to God in the highest, these spirits are still operating. Because what we must understand, it's a spirit. Glory be to God. And the same way that spirit was operating, then it continues to operate through persons and persons, because spirits roam and move and travel. And if they're casted out of one person, they're looking at another house to go. And when these spirits move from one person to the other, the head demon will be in charge, but there is a lot of them there, but He is in charge, and that's what you call legions. Glory be to God in the highest. So we must understand that when we know the God that we serve, and that's why it's important to live a life